So I'm certainly excited to connect with you and get to know and understand your story a little bit more. As I was explaining earlier, I certainly have an affinity for what you are doing with taking care of mom for 6 years. I certainly understand what it means to be a caregiver and to help others who truly need it, but aren't necessarily always willing to ask. And so, how really want to know kind of how all of this kind of got started for you and even why it got started for you. I know that, and congratulations, I know that you and MD are celebrating 2 years of being in business.
It's 2 years this month that we started Your Community Cares. And it was really a passion project from my professional life of being a physical therapist and truly seeing the difficulty in people's lives and the help that people need directly in their homes. And also, MD has a physical disability as a result of a motor vehicle accident. And he was the perfect person to pair up with and try to put our heads together of how we can help support this demographic of people, of older adults that need help, and also people with physical disabilities that are behind the walls of their house. You can't see them, but we know many people need help. And that's where we started Your Community Cares.
Which is amazing, and so hats off to you for doing that. It's an amazing feeling to give back, and I don't think that people truly understand some of that unless you're in the mix doing it, because to give to people without anything in return, even though this is the job that you're creating for yourself and others, but there's still a sense of accomplishment and doing just some great work for people, that truly need some help.
Yeah, as a physical therapist, I'm limited by, the extra stuff I can do for people. So it's really rewarding to be able to go to someone's home and, drop off groceries or go grocery shopping for them and just be a companion to them as well. It really does make their day when they have someone to look forward to talk with, because unfortunately families have moved away or passed away and they just don't have the same support they used to have. And
Mhm.
they really look forward to our volunteers giving back in their own community and helping them out.
Excellent. And so maybe you can just explain a little bit about what your community cares is all about and what you guys are able to kind of go out and do for folks.
Yeah, sure. Our yourcommunitycares.org is the website where participants sign up. So that could be the community member that's over the age of 70 or someone that's physically disabled over the age of 18. That could be someone who fell down and broke their leg, or it could be a woman after childbirth that needs extra help,
Hmm.
a temporary disability. But anyone over 70 also qualifies. So we kind of have two different demographics of people that we serve, and they can sign up on our website to be community members, the people that get helped by volunteers. And they will be matched with a volunteer within 15 miles of their house. We try to make these local connections, these community connections, to make sure that people feel that they're helping in their own community.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And so I would imagine the need is great for volunteers, for people who are, kind of willing and able to spend some time and, help somebody in their community.
Absolutely. We're looking for 169 towns. It's a big operation when you're
Oh, wow,
covering.
that's a lot. That's
Yeah, so we have between all of our participants right now, we're in about 100 towns,
mm,
but we would definitely like to be in all of the towns to help support people across the state.
that's fantastic. And so how did you go about like um getting now is there I guess a fee for anybody? It's all volunteer work. How does that all of that work for people?
There is no cost at all for any of our participants to be part of the platform. We are funded by private donations, grants, sponsorships, town, municipality being on their budget. So that's why we're looking for more um, funding revenues so that we could one day become staff. But right now we're 100% volunteer, and we're a startup nonprofit, a technology startup, if you will. And that's not always in the nonprofit space. So we are a little different, but we understand based on the last year the importance of people getting connected virtually,
Yeah.
because that's the way the world is right now. So we are excited to be at the forefront of a nonprofit like this.
And so and so now, is this something that you do all of your volunteer work plus your full-time job, or is this something that you do full-time? How does that work?
Well, over the last 2 years, I've cut my hours down from, 40 hours a week to 30 hours a week at work because um, as we're growing, you can imagine
Yeah.
it's a lot.
But to
So
still maintain almost a full-time job and run all of this for almost the entire state of Connecticut is got to be um, uh, a huge undertaking.
well, it definitely is a huge undertaking. I am trying to stay as organized as possible, and really, it's the passion of the job. It's really,
Yeah.
I'm bringing my day job to this nonprofit, the medical background that I have, the ability for me to understand the needs in the community has really allowed us to grow. And we have many pro bono professionals that are helping us, which has been so amazing. People really willing to help us behind the scenes that are creating these connections for us, and
Yeah.
also the support system that we need. So we are beyond grateful for everyone's support.
It really is amazing. And so now you say you operate in the state of Connecticut. Now, are you looking to expand that outside of the state? Is there any possibilities, or does this have to be, kept within Connecticut for?
Right now, based on our funding, we're only in Connecticut. Our
Okay.
goal is to be a nationwide organization, but we have to create that funding structure, whether we became under the arm of a partner that would
Yeah.
help us with our operational expenses. Those are things that we're exploring and trying to understand of the strategy of moving forward. But what we think would work best would to get possibly on budgets of municipalities. So
Hmm.
in any town in Connecticut, if they were to give us $1,000 a year on the smaller towns, or 5,000 for the bigger towns, that small amount of money would help us cover our operational expenses. And
Hmm.
a lot of that comes down to the background checks. That's how we're a little different, is that we do background checks on all the participants, and that comes at an expense to the organization.
Yeah, I know, and it's an expense to run a background every single time. You don't get a break on doing so. But
But
that's an important part, right? Because you have people coming into your home, and I know when I was taking care of my mother, nobody can take care of her like me, but yet when I needed to go do something and my sister, had something going on and she couldn't, take my mom, you had to rely on that at times. And there's an overwhelming feeling of who's coming in and just that. And so having that background check is a nice piece for folks to, I would imagine, have some self-assurance that who's ever coming into their house, is a safe individual and all of that.
yeah, absolutely. The safety and security of our participants is at the forefront of our minds, which is why that is that requirement. And some
Yeah.
people are like, oh, you don't need to do background checks. But for us, that's the way we run our organization. And we know other nonprofits might not do that, but that's how we feel most comfortable. And we also know that many caregiver organizations are suffering as a result of COVID-19 staffing. They
Mm.
have limited staffing. So we are a resource, a gap for people that need respite care. Like you said, you might be the primary caregiver, but you got to run out and get groceries or whatever it is. Our volunteer,
Respite care is so in need, and it's so there's just not a lot of it available. If you don't, especially if you don't have the money, let's just say you need a break, and you can't afford to have somebody come in and you can't afford to go out to dinner, and so it's kind of picking which one that then you can't do either because you don't have the money to do both. So respite care is an amazing gift that you're able to give people.
Yeah, it's a gift of time. That's really what our volunteers are doing, is gifting their time to help people that are living to 90 and 100 that never financially plan to live that long.
Mm,
Many of these people that we're serving don't have the long-term care insurance. They don't have the financial means to pay for private caregivers. So we are that gap to help people that are in need.
yeah, such an amazing gift. And so now, what are some of the things that some of the volunteers are able to do for the community members?
So they range from housework. So those could be laundry. Many people coming home from surgery, if they have a knee replacement, they can't go in their basement anymore. So they can't carry the laundry up and down the stairs. So basic things like that that we think are pretty easy, they do become more difficult as people are having difficulties with mobility.
I smiled a little bit there only because 2 years ago I had a full hip replacement, and so I certainly certainly understand the needs of not being able to do some different things when you're out of capacity like that.
Yeah, you just don't realize until it happens to you. And that's how you understand your community cares, because personally you went through it with your mom, but people that don't have parents that are at that age don't always get it.
Hmm.
But personally and professionally, I understand the need, and that's what drives us to continue. And that MD is the same way. He's driven by him understanding. He
Yeah,
had a family around him when he had his motor vehicle accident, and not everybody does.
yeah.
And that's what we want to help provide, that family for these people.
Yeah, which is absolutely fantastic. And you guys have grown quite a bit, right? I mean, in the past 2 years, I know when we originally first talked, you were just talking about getting on some different members, or, I don't know how that worked, but I mean, the increased growth, how do you still get out there and find volunteers with all of this increased growth and, attract people into the organization to go out there and help?
Well, what we're really focusing right now is on board development, the advisors, the support system,
Mm,
because we've grown into almost 500 participants into the platform, and we really need to be more strategic of funding revenues, because we can't continue to cover all of this without strategic funding. So that's really on the organization side, where
yeah.
MD and I jumped into this because we were so excited to help people. And we had a small board, and the board is growing, and we're really excited to have more people come on board to help us. So if anyone listening is interested in becoming a board member and advisor to your community cares, we welcome them to contact us, and we could discuss that further.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And that our volunteers, so there's the four categories. There's housework, yard work, so shoveling, raking, transportation, and then companionship. So many people are having trouble with their devices, technology issues, and that's where our volunteers can also go and help with. Under that category of companionship are simple things around the house, like a new TV that they just don't know how to operate, the smart TV, whatever it is. We have some people that, the family member bought them a TV and they just can't operate it.
And I will tell you that, as simple as sometimes it may seem, if you don't have to learn new technology, the older I get at 47, it's like I hear myself say, why do I need to know that? I'm fine. But
Mhm.
then at some point, you're going to have to do that. And then you're stuck. It's like, I don't know what to do. And
Yeah,
even now, as much as we use technology, when it doesn't work, how frustrating is that? And
yeah.
so not understanding what is happening and all of that, just because you don't really understand how it all works, is even more frustrating. So I can understand how, some of the older members who don't really want this but have to do it anyway and then get frustrated because it's not really that reliable all the time. And so yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to be also a resource for those community members that haven't asked for help in the past. So when our volunteers go in and they see that that person can no longer go down the stairs to get to their car, then we're contacting a company to get them a ramp,
Hmm.
connecting them with resources that can help them in the home, that the area agencies on aging or the Independence Unlimited, or there's so many agencies across Connecticut that we can help provide more education to our community members now that we're getting to know them, and really be a resource and an advocate for them. And that's where we want to grow as we're growing the role of your community cares. We really want to make sure that they feel supported in their home. Once the volunteer sees the situation, they can help that person, because it's very overwhelming to, even call to sign up for the vaccine.
Hmm.
It's been a process. So for 211 to set up a hotline to help with that. And um, we are a part of Connecticut VOAD, which is the Volunteer After a Disaster. So we are working with different support agencies across the state to make sure that we are known to be a resource for people in need.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's such great work. And so, um, when you look at what 2021 brings, what are you excited about?
An amazing opportunity to connect with Infosys. They are a very large website uh, company that is building us a brand new website
Oh,
pro bono.
nice.
They have donated their employee time to help us make a better user experience, and also a more robust reporting system, because we
Hmm.
are growing so much so fast, that they have been willing to help us capture what we're doing a little bit better. And we're just so excited for, even companies like that really realize the impact we could have as we're growing. We need
Hmm.
to have the website, the technology grow with us. And because we are that conduit that just connects communities. So whether it's the social workers from the town that are referring, or the discharge planners at a hospital, or the insurance company that's referring, all of these different referral sources,
Yeah,
we want to make sure everybody has a great experience with the website. And so that's what we are working on for
that's
2021.
that's fantastic. Excellent, excellent. Well, I will certainly, share this with as much, many people in Connecticut as I possibly can, so that, we can really get the word out with all of the great stuff that you do. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know how valuable it is, but I really wanted to highlight really the amazing work that you guys are doing, and certainly applaud you for doing it, because you see the need, I understand the need, and the more that we can help people, then the better off everyone is. And so thank you for what you do.
Thank you for having